On this video, we will be discussing Week 18 of women's basketball, and this was the week of the underdog. We will go over the AP Top 10, the availability report, the AP Top 25 exits and enters, great matchups from last week, conference standings, and upcoming conference tournaments. But first, as always, let me welcome you to Davis Sports Report and ask that you do us a huge favor and go ahead and smash that like button. And just because this is the last week of regular season doesn't mean we don't still have a lot to cover. So go ahead and subscribe to keep up. Also, there will be an announcement at the end regarding March Madness, so stay tuned. Okay, let's get into it. Starting with the AP Top 10 teams, Texas remains at number 1. USC rose by 2 to the number 2 spot. UConn rose by 2 to the number 3 spot. UCLA dropped 2 to number 4. South Carolina rose to the number 5 spot. Notre Dame took a drop by 3 to the number 6 spot. North Carolina State rose by 2 to the number 7. TCU rose by 2 to number 8. LSU dropped by 2 to number 9. And new to the top 10 is Oklahoma, who rose by 3. On the availability report, Flau'jae Johnson played Game 1 of last week against Alabama, but missed the game against Ole Miss due to a shin inflammation and is expected to be out for the conference tournaments. Sakima Walker with South Carolina was out last week, but I did not find a reason why. Baylor's Dariana Little-Page Buggs is out due to a knee injury during the Texas Tech game on February 15th. Talasha Cooper of Tennessee rolled an ankle last week and is day-to-day. There is still no sign of Kiyomi McMillan for Rutgers. Tanaya Latson for FSU was back for both games this week, as well as Omariah Gordon. She was also back. Britt Prince for Nebraska was back on the court for Week 18, and Janiah Barker was back for Game 2 last week against USC, putting in 22 minutes. And now for the AP Top 25 exits. We had Louisville that fell off, but we also had a lot of shakeup going on in the 11 through 25. We had North Carolina that fell by 6, Tennessee that fell by 7, and Kansas State that fell by 6. Again, it was Louisville that fell off. And with someone falling off, we also get an enter. And the new enter is going to be South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Congratulations to the Jackrabbits for your first appearance on the AP Top 25. Great matchups from last week, and there were tons of great conference games with big implications. So let's get into them. First off is 17th ranked Baylor defeated 14th ranked Kansas State with a score of 79-62. This game was Aaronette Vonleh's showcase to remind us that she's here and she's impactful. Senior Vonleh had a career-high 24 points, and you can add to that her 12 rebounds, making it a dub-dub for her last regular season home game in a Bears uniform. Following Aaronette in scoring was Yaya Felder and Aaliyah Matheru with 15 each. For Kansas State, Serena Sundell was the high scorer with 20 points. Next is number 12, Ohio State took care of business and handled the Michigan State Spartans 70-57. And the freshman, Jelani Cambridge, got a career-high 33 points, which included 5 three-pointers. She was lights out from the three-point line. Following Cambridge was Ajayi Petty, who also had a massive game, adding 23 points and 15 rebounds for a double-double in the house. Michigan's top scorer was Theron Halleck with 29 points, and she was 5 of 5 from the three. She put on for her city, but it wasn't enough. Then we go to number 1 ranked Texas, who had their hands full with unranked Mississippi State, beating them 68-64. This game was no walk in the park for the number 1 team in the nation. They ended the first up by only 1. Then they went into halftime down by 1. These two teams were pretty evenly matched. Shea Hawley was the high scorer for Texas with 16 points, and for Mississippi State, it was Jerkayla Jordan with 14 points. The blocks were blocking for both teams. Madison Booker ended with 3, and the Longhorns had 8 overall. Next up is 24th ranked Florida State, who pulled off a shocking upset with a massive away win over 3rd ranked Notre Dame. Tanaya Latson was back from a good rest, and you could tell. She ended with 23 points, 9 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block shot. followed by Michaela Timpson with 22 points and 17 rebounds, double-double. For Notre Dame, Hannah Hidalgo never seemed to get it right. She was 4 of 18 from the field and 0 of 2 from the three. To put it simple, she had a horrible shooting night. And without both Hannah and Olivia playing the leading roles, the wins will be hard to come by against great opponents. Sonia Citrone with the Irish had the high score with 21 points and 5 rebounds. Moving on to 20th ranked Alabama, who pulled off yet another shocking upset, taking out 7th ranked LSU 88-85. I watched this whole game and it was quite a scrappy game. 21 total fouls for LSU, with Flau'jae fouling out and getting her lip busted in the game. And for Alabama, both Aaliyah Nye and Sarah Ashley Barker fouled out. The game's high score was Aaliyah Nye with 28 points. For LSU, the high score was Michaela Williams with 22 points. And you know how we do. If the coach has something to say, we hear them out. So let's go see what Coach Mulkey has to say.
You know, when there's as many stoppages as there are in that game with 39 total fouls, is it kind of hard to keep your team in a rhythm when there's so many stoppages and fouls and stuff like that?
Yes, that was a poorly officiated game, and I bet if you ask Christy Curry, she'll tell you the same thing. It wouldn't have mattered if we would have won or lost. Too much stopping. Think of all the things you saw take place tonight. Is that basketball? I don't even know some of the things. I was asking questions like, what is that call? What are you saying? Why are you going to the monitor now? Let me make it clear. They had nothing to do with us losing. We had a chance to win the game, right? And we didn't, because we didn't deserve to win. Alabama deserved to win that game. But that was it just didn't flow for either team.
You mentioned you felt like your team didn't put up an effort to deserve to win. What aspects of your effort would you have liked to see?
Let's start at the foul line. You can't shoot 14 for 23 from the foul line. I think they only missed 2 or 3. I'd have to look to be exact. They missed 4, okay? Then let's start with rebounding. They out-rebounded us. Okay, that's where I'd start. And we knew they were outstanding shooters. Yeah, it was a hard game to coach. I kept trying to find answers from the officials. What are you looking at? What are you going to the monitor for? Or one time they went to the monitor to look at somebody getting hit in the throat that happened 2 plays before. I don't know. It was just too much going on. It was too much. It's too busy. I'd have to look at the film. I think some of it is what we couldn't do offensively. If you look at some of our kids that are our primary players and what they shot from the field, it's unusual. Flau'jae, 2 for 12. We just needed to make, we needed to match their intensity and their grit. And we did in spurts. We did it when we were behind trying to catch up. But I guess, sometimes you just got to give credit to the opponent. And I think I want to do that tonight. She's good, man. She only missed 3 shots. And she was 3 for 4 from the three-point line, made all her free throws, knocked down big shots for them when they needed it. When we were cutting into the lead, she'd knock down big shots. But that's what you're supposed to do when you're one of the top players. She and Barker, and listen, let me even just talk about Zay Green. Zay Green, Lord, I've known that kid for years. She's been in college a long time. You're dealing with older players that are experienced and very mature. And they did what they needed to do.
Did she just throw shade on Zay Green? Kim, that's not nice to call someone old. Then 16th ranked Duke refused to take another L from 8th ranked UNC. Their first meetup went to UNC 53-46, but this time they were on a mission and they took out UNC 68-53. Regan Richardson had the hot hand, hitting 5 of 8 from the three-point line, adding to her total of 23 points for the night. Right behind her was the freshman Toby Fournier with 19 points and 10 rebounds. For the Blue Devils, Maria Gakdang was held to only 8 points and 7 rebounds. This was a must-win for the Tar Heels, and they were able to complete the mission. Next up is 15th-ranked Kentucky took down 11th-ranked Tennessee, 82-58. Say what? I didn't get to watch this one in real time, but I must go back to see what happened to Tennessee's defense to allow Kentucky to get this type of gap on them. But looking at the numbers, it was more of an offense issue than a defense issue. Z Spearman was 0 of 10 from the field goal and only scored 3 points for the game, and those were free throws. What happened to Spearman? Jewel Spear was 0 of 5 from the field goal and 0 of 3 from the three. She ended the night with 0, a goose egg, in her 22 minutes of play. These girls must have had their minds on what they would be doing this weekend for Mardi Gras because their heads were clearly not in the game. For Kentucky, Clara Strack had 23 points, shooting 100% for the night, with 11 of 11 from the field and 1 of 1 from the three. She also had 15 rebounds. Nice work, Strack. And on Saturday, the Stars came out to see the 4th-ranked USC repeat the UCLA beatdown, this time taking them down 80-67. I watched this game and I'm going to say this, and that is that I didn't agree with some of the calls on both sides. USC ended the night with a total of 23 personal fouls, with Talia Van Alhoffen fouling out. But the lady of the evening was, of course, Juju Watkins with 30 points and 3 rebounds, followed by Kiki Arifin with 17 points. For UCLA, Kiki Rice had a good night with 16 points and 4 rebounds, but not much more help other than Lauren Betts with 11 points and 11 rebounds. Moving on to Sunday Fun Day, we have the Roll Tide again. This time, 20th-ranked Alabama was taken down by 13th-ranked Oklahoma. And Peyton Valhurst had quite the game for her last regular season game in a Sooners gear, putting up 24 points. Close behind her was Regan Beers with 22 points and 11 rebounds. For Alabama, Zay Green was the high scorer with 27 points and 6 rebounds. I told you we had a lot to cover. If you didn't already hit that like button, go ahead and do it now. We really appreciate it. Next up, unranked Iowa State came alive and demolished 14th-ranked Kansas State 85-63. The Cyclones' Audie Crooks had a massive game. Hey girl, we've missed you. Welcome back to the conversation. And right on time for NCAA playoffs. At any rate, Crooks had 36 points and 10 rebounds. She got smacked around, but kept moving forward. Behind Crooks was Emily Ryan with 17 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds, giving them both double-doubles. Nice work, ladies. Then the 19th-ranked Maryland squeaked by 12th-ranked Ohio State 93-90. This was another one of those very physical and high fouls games last week. Kaylin Smichael and Cheyenne Sellers with 26 and 21 points respectively. Allie Quebec also contributed 17, and it was really an overall effort by the Terrapins to win this game. For Ohio State, Taylor Theory was the high scorer with 21 points, and I have to say, again, this was an overall effort by Ohio State as well. But Cody McMahon and Jelani Cambridge, both fouling out, made way for Maryland to take the win. Georgia? Who let Georgia in the house? Hello? We haven't talked about the Bulldogs all season, but here we are in the last week of regular season, and they take out 11th-ranked Tennessee 72-69. Tough week for Tennessee. That is back-to-back losses. And it appears to still be the offense. Maybe tired arms? I'm not sure. Because even with Talasha Cooper only playing 12 minutes, they still should have been able to get this win. The good news is that Jewel Spear and Z Spearman were back to their old selves, putting up 20 and 19 respectively. Talasha Cooper, as I stated, only played 12 minutes because she got hurt in the second quarter. We do hope to see her back for the conference tournaments. For the Bulldogs, Mia Woolfark was the high scorer with 20 points, followed by Damari Flournoy with 18. That was a great win for the underdog Bulldogs. Way to capitalize, ladies. And another one. Yo, who let Virginia in this joint? Anyone? Okay, unranked Virginia took out 8th-ranked UNC, and yes, if you're keeping up, that is back-to-back losses for UNC also. Although Maria Gakdang was back in full swing, contributing 25 points and 9 rebounds, they weren't able to keep it on track. Virginia was down by 11 at the end of the first half, but came back after halftime and got to work closing the gap. The Tar Heels began to widen the gap again, but a three-pointer from Odessa Nguyen, followed by a jumper from Kimore Johnson, and a layup by Latasha Lattimore, giving Virginia a 7-point run with a minute left in the game. What a turn of events. It got down to fouls for Virginia, and they hit 6 in a row, giving them the edge. And UNC took a death by free throws. What a shame. Okay, guys, what is going on? As I said at the top, this was the week of the underdogs. Unranked Ole Miss took down 7th-ranked LSU 85-77. Yes, Flau'jae was out for this game, but wow. This is back-to-back losses for the Tigers. LSU was not having a great shooting night. Michaela Williams did her part, clocking 25 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. And Anissa Morrow, although she fouled out right at the end, had another double-double. But we aren't surprised. This has been her year. Morrow had 28 points and 12 rebounds. Samaya Smith didn't put up much, only shooting twice in her 30 minutes and adding 2 points. Ole Miss got them on steals, grabbing 14. The top scorers were Tamia Sadler and KK Deans with 19 and 17 respectively, and at the end of the day, Ole Miss took more shots and had less turnovers. Then we had 16th-ranked Duke taking down 24th-ranked Florida State. That was fresh off a massive win in West Bend against Notre Dame. The Blue Devils had an impressive week last week. They took out Florida State 71-57. The Blue Devils came in strong, but FSU wasn't going down without a fight. They went into the half down by 1, but the fourth was where the tide turned, where the Blue Devils went on an unanswered 12-point run, sealing the deal. The freshman, Toby Fournier, had 28 points. For Florida State, Tania Latson was held to only 9 points, so that's not good. The high score for Florida State was Michaela Timpson with 25 points. And last but certainly not least, we had 6th-ranked South Carolina with their second win of the week, taking out 15th-ranked Kentucky with a score of 78-66. But let me jump in really quick to say that earlier in the week, Chloe Kitts had a triple-double against Ole Miss. Okay, now back to the program. Both teams came to play. Kentucky went into the half down by 8, doing their best not to let the gap grow too big. And they got to work closing the gap in the third. But a 10-point run halfway through the fourth gave South Carolina a comfortable enough gap to ride it out. For Kentucky, Clara Strack had 23 points and 8 rebounds. Georgia Amore followed with 16 points. For South Carolina, Tessa Johnson was the girl with 16 points, putting up 2 of 2 from the 3 and 7 of 9 from the field. Followed by Tahina Paopao with 13 and Chloe Kitts with a double-double, 12 points and 10 rebounds. All of these games had huge impacts in regards to seeding for the upcoming conference tournaments. Let's take a look at the new standings. For the ACC, while it shows Notre Dame and North Carolina State as tied, it's actually North Carolina State that will take the number 1 seed as they topple Notre Dame in the regular season for the seed tiebreaker. Duke remains as the number 3 seed, and Florida State gets the 4th spot as they beat UNC in the regular season. And for regular season champions, it's split between North Carolina State and Notre Dame. Congratulations to both teams. For the SEC, Texas and South Carolina are tied for the number 1 spot, and this will go to a tiebreaker as each team beat the other in the regular season. LSU will keep the 3rd seed, and Kentucky will get the number 4 seed as they beat Oklahoma in the regular season. And this is why this last week was so important. And the regular season champs are split between Texas and South Carolina. Congratulations to both teams. As for the tiebreaker for the number 1 seed, as you can see the rules here. A, 1-loss results of head-to-head competition between the teams. B, 1-loss results of the 2 teams versus the highest seed and proceeding through the lowest seed if necessary. And C, coin flip by Commissioner Sankey. And that's where we're at. So let's go ahead and see what happened in the coin toss.
And it will be.
And there you have it. South Carolina will be the number 1 seed again this year. For the Big Ten, we have USC at the top of the list, followed by UCLA. Then Ohio State will actually get the 3rd seed as Ohio and Maryland split the wins. Ohio State has the higher regular season finish at 24-5 compared to Maryland with a total record of 23-6. So Maryland will get the 4th seed. And the regular season champions are USC. Congratulations to the Trojans. Well done. And lastly, the Big 12. In the Big 12, TCU is the victor with the number 1 seed. The 2nd seed will go to Baylor, and the 3rd to Oklahoma State, and 4th will go to West Virginia as West Virginia beat Kansas State and Utah in the regular season. And the regular season champions are the TCU Horned Frogs. Does anyone remember TCU from just a year ago when they had to recruit players because their players were injured and they didn't have enough to play in a game? What a turnaround from a year ago. A round of applause for TCU. And the must-watch for this week is really all of the conference games we mentioned before. And we will be trying to bring you daily updates as these games will be happening fast and daily. Day 1 for the ACC will be Wednesday, March 5th, when Boston College will face off with Syracuse, Virginia will face Pittsburgh, and Stanford will face Clemson. Day 1 for the SEC will also be Wednesday, March 5th. Texas A&M will face Tennessee, Arkansas will face Georgia, Missouri will face Mississippi State, and Auburn will face Florida. Day 1 for the Big Ten, again, will be Wednesday, March 5th. We will have Minnesota against Washington, Rutgers against Nebraska, and Wisconsin against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Day 1 for the Big 12, you guessed it, Wednesday, March 5th, Central Florida versus BYU. Houston will face off against Colorado, Arizona State goes against Cincinnati, and Texas Tech against Kansas. That was a lot. Also, UConn is in the Big East Conference, and we don't expect they will get much resistance from Creighton, Seton Hall, or Marquette. But if something happens, we will let you know. Okay, so I have a couple of questions for this week. First off, do you guys think the AP polls got it right this week? My counterpart is highly upset about it, so I wanted to see what you guys had to say about it. Also, will you be watching the conference tournaments? And if so, who do you think will come out victorious? Sound off, SEC and ACC. I know y'all have opinions. Also, for the Big 10 and Big 12, we'd love to hear from you also, as these teams are very close in talent. As stated at the top, we will be doing a March Madness competition. We did this last year for both the men's and the women's, and we had a lot of fun. But we didn't have many subscribers, so believe it or not, the same person won for both the men's and the women's bracket. So once we've set up the brackets, we will be coming right back to you guys with details on how and where to sign up and what the prizes will be for this year. We want to thank you all for watching. We have a goal of reaching 5,000 subscribers by the end of March, so go ahead and subscribe to help us reach our goal. Also, like, comment, and share it with a friend. We will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.